Good evening, everybody. Today is July 13th, 2026, and I would like to call this meeting to order of the Community Advisory Committee. We are here at 1999 Harrison Street, Suite 2300 in Oakland, California. There are various other spots, public spots, where some of the members are attending the meeting from. And at this time, if you are interested in speaking, you can raise your hand with a *9 function, or just raise your hand on Zoom. And if let's take some roll call.
Great, thank you very much. Member Bierce.
Here.
Thank you. Member Riley.
Here.
Member Edmonds.
Here.
Member Swaminathan. Member Lakshman. Member DeFranco. Member Epperson.
Here.
Member Harper.
Present.
Thank you. Member Halafia.
Here.
Member Knott. Member Raj.
Here.
Member Roberts.
Here.
Vice Chair Balkison.
Here.
Chair Souza.
I'm here.
And I'll also note that Member Lakshman has also arrived. We have a quorum.
Great, thank you. All right, let's start this meeting with some questions. I believe we had somebody online. It was actually a member, wasn't it? Online?
No, those,
Oh, was it? Okay. Can we have some public comment?
great, thank you.
Thank you.
Just 1 second.
Oh, go ahead, Jim. Go ahead, Jim.
Hold one
He-
second.
Yeah, I'll call him next. Okay.
He was first. He got it in line. So he should go.
Why don't you go ahead, Jim?
Okay. So Jim Lutz, ex-CAC member. I would like to encourage the CAC to get actively involved in AVA's current planning process for long-term local development programs. As you all know, local development was one of the key goals listed in the Joint Powers Authority that established AVA. And the benefits of local development were an important consideration to the coalition of groups that formed the political muscle needed to create AVA in the first place. Unfortunately, local development seems to have been played down in AVA's beginning years in the push to secure sufficient clean, affordable power. Now, however, with regulatory changes such as the recent PCIA revisions regularly being engineered to drive CCAs out of existence, it is important to get back to the principles behind AVA. It is also crucial to expand AVA's income stream beyond just charging for electricity. Local development programs should be designed not to be a cost center within the agency, but to provide additional new cash flows for AVA while also reducing total energy bills for customers. One of many possible examples could be leasing balcony solar and storage systems. As long as the net impact is to reduce customers' total bills, this would be a win for both AVA and its customers. And it would be an even better marketing success than the current e-bike program that's going to be discussed later on the agenda. Any program that reduces customers' total bills, energy bills, with no upfront cost will be an incredible marketing success. These types of programs, of course, will be new and different and potentially risky. The programs will need to be piloted and revised, and thus it is crucial that the planning process to roll out local development programs be inclusive and broad-based. That is the only way to build sustainable programs that enjoy widespread support across all of AVA's many and diverse customers. Those customers need to be invited into the planning process. And that's it.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you, Jim.
Douglas Spalding, recognized for 3 minutes.
There we go. Well, hello, Community Advisory Committee. I am just learning about AVA. I want to preface my remarks by saying that I am an AVA customer in the town of San Leandro and a beneficiary of your e-bike program. I'm sorry I won't be able to stay around to comment during that agenda item, but I really, really appreciate that. I would love to know whether there's any possibility of AVA doing anything about installing local charging stations, or are we just beholden to all the vendors who exist? It seems to be a hard prospect to get stations in place. But the reason for my comment this evening is about the prospect of data centers. And I'm bringing it up because it's come up in my fair town of San Leandro. Next door in Hayward, one flew under the radar. And I was surprised when I went to comment about that one that there was already a done deal. It hadn't even gone through the city council. Of course, in the South Bay, Santa Clara is, like the second largest concentration of data centers. And I think everyone here appreciates how the advent of this new generation of mega data centers to support AI are really putting pressure on water, land, as well as energy. So I'm a customer because I support the mission of renewable energy, and my mayor, Mr. Juan Gonzalez, who serves on the AVA board and is currently the vice president, is poised to become the president in the next term. And he is a proponent of data centers. I happen to think they're a bad idea. So I just want to raise the issue for you all. I hope that AVA in all of its bodies will begin to consider and study the issue. It's an area that is not well regulated. So developers, AI data center developers, are taking advantage of cheap power and available water and available land wherever they can, while there's not really any regulation. And so I think the proper stance for you and for the other bodies of AVA is to enforce a moratorium, to give us time in order to fully understand what the ramifications are of putting data centers in San Leandro or any of the other communities that AVA serves. Unfortunately, the developers are quite litigious. They use NDA agreements, and I think once you're in their tentacles, it's very difficult to disengage. So please protect me and other AVA patrons by installing a moratorium on data centers. Thank you.
Thank you. There are
Thank-
no further hands raised in the attendee area or in any of the remote locations.
Thank you, Adrian. I really do take Douglas's, of course, and Jim's comments to heart. I was reading an article about water, and if you do a AI assist on an email, it's actually costs 1 cup of water, 12 ounces of water. And I mean, that's not much, but if you're doing it hundreds of thousands of times in an area that is already stricken by drought, this is a very serious concern. So thank you, Douglas, for your comment. Let's see. No more public comment, and we've established quorum. So I'd like to move on to the chair report. And I'd like to bring to you that we have also included some additional information on top of what we normally use for the chair report, which is the board of director and CEO report, who is Howard Chang's report from the Board of Directors meeting last month, so that you can, we're hoping to build on that curiosity. So not only will you take a look at the agendas for the board meeting, but also perhaps attend one of the board meetings online. Of course, you can attend via Zoom and you can see what goes on. It's a very well-run meeting. There's a lot of information about AVA, about perspectives, about community that sometimes the CAC isn't privy to, because we have a shorter agenda and we talk about slightly different things. So at this point in time, I'd like to turn this over to Indira, who has written the report on the last month's board meeting for AVA.
Thanks, Mickey. I'm not sure if, I guess you can hear this. So one of the things that to build on what Mickey is saying is that I think I've been on the board about a year and a half. And I don't think that I got the same background as I want you guys to get in terms of, I mean, onboarding and things, but to understand sort of how the board works, because I think in absence of context, our conversations don't necessarily, well, they just can seem a little different from what the board is actually looking at. And this last meeting was very much focused on the financials, as you know, and I brought forth our comments to the board. But I don't know if you've read this, but I think it's important in the CEO report, at least for me, is to see how much work the staff and AVA has done each month when we go. And so and that's the reason for wanting you to see the CEO's report, because it's pretty cool to see like how much power we're bringing in, AVA's bringing in California and in New Mexico. And just to sort of see the issues that are coming up that the board is hearing about. And I think it's important that we hear about them too. So we know that there are things going on in the community. There are things that are, working on our JPA responsibilities. And so two things there, had some of the community work that's been done, like on June 5th, there was a ribbon cutting in Oakland at the new community solar project in East Oakland. And my daughter sent me a picture of AVA advertising at the FIFA games, which was pretty exciting, I think. So you've probably seen the one about partnering with BayREN, the conversation about Stop Waste and BayREN, and working with the heat pump water heater incentive program, providing $1,000 post-installation rebates. And AVA is also exploring alternative powers, permit streamlining, contractor incentive programs, direct to customer rebates, financing solutions. So in June itself, AVA had 7 events. And so anyway, so that's a little bit of the background. And there's pictures in Howard's notes, which are pretty cool. So as far as the context of our conversation, which was a very good conversation last month, discussing the financials, and in light of I'm just going to read this. In light of the fact that AVA revenues recovered 130 million deficit versus the predicted 250 million deficit predicted back in 2025. And from my perspective and from the conversation we had, we felt that $10 million reduction in the local development budget fund should be restored. And that's what we approached the board to do. The board had a long conversation about really the financial health of AVA, and which actually led me afterwards to go and look up how does a joint powers nonprofit versus a for-profit look at deficit. And both, you really want to balance the books every time. So the board was very focused on survival, kind of, it sounded like to me. And the city councilor from Pleasanton uses an example of how Pleasanton is having, as you've read in the paper, financial issues, and how that even though they have community involvement programs, they can't implement them. They're having to shrink them. And so he was mentioning, that even if there was the money discussed, putting it back in, they're not sure, or at least he was saying based on Pleasanton, it's not a guarantee that the programs would be implemented. So, and I just wanted to, I know it's kind of hard in a vacuum, but to know the conversations were I thought very thoughtful and very appropriate to our mission and really caring about local business development. One of the city council asked about the 83 million, if we had considered that in our discussion, and that there was still 14 million untapped so far, and did that matter to us? And I was, of course, matters. But so, and I said, yes, we discussed that. We were aware of that. And the board asked if there wasn't the concept of a waterfall policy, which apparently Ava does not have, which has to do with the surplus and how it gets divided up with our, what is it called? Our rate stabilization fund, and our local business development. There's not really a policy. They didn't commit to doing that, but they found that they discussed a need for that, to see that. So they didn't take our recommendations for this budget. They said they'd reviewed it 5 times. But they did say that in the fall, like in December, when we get what is it called? The audit, that they would go ahead and look at it again, look at the budget again, putting the 10 million back in. So it wasn't a flat out no, but it was like deficit kept being mentioned, deficit. So anyway, budget deficit is key, which you probably read here. And then the other one about the second recommendation we had, which I'm forgetting here, about the 0. They didn't really come up with a commitment about doing the policy, making a policy, but I think that'll come up in the fall after they get the audit. So I don't know if you have any questions about that, but I mostly want to make sure that we don't want to get an adversarial relationship with the board. We want to understand what their problems are. At the same time, they want to understand what our issues are. So I think it's important for both of us to share our context. So I think having that context, since you're coming on board and new, to know they didn't just flat out say, no, we're not going to do what you're recommending, but to say we're going to delay it till they're feeling more comfortable about our financial situation.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Indira. One of the other things was, thank you, Catherine, for this. The board was excited actually about considering the long-term business development and having a percentage allocated if there was a surplus. So there is currently nothing that states long-term business goals at this time, or percentage, or a piece of the pie. So in the future, I think the board is going to ask for some sort of a goal, a statement, a percentage that would be allocated in the event that there is a surplus again, which hopefully we'll see very soon. And that way, there will always be that consideration, and because it is a very, very high priority for development, and also for all of the ideas that will come out from hopefully the Community Advisory Committee, where we will be focusing on helping Ava develop some, or giving them a heads up, or technology, and that's what we're here for. So that said, that was a great comment from you. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, additional comment. So, has anybody else here watched the June board meeting recording? Has anyone else watched it? Yeah, I got it. I do think it is worth watching the recordings if you get the chance to get that flavor, like you said. Just wanted to add that I'm also concerned with like local development funding, and that it does make sense though, given that you don't really give to a nonprofit on a credit card, you don't have income to pay for. So that you want to wait till you have that income in the bank to donate, kind of is the vibe that I'm getting. And then I also wanted to share it in the last month. I talked to San Jose Clean Energy. They mentioned they used 100 million from their reserve to balance the budget because of PCA and other things. And then some CCAs don't have a discount on their rates compared to IOUs because they are seen as, renewables are greener, therefore a premium thing. So if anybody wants to listen to the context on how bad the deficit was projected last December, in the December 25 board meeting, a couple scenarios were floated, including raising rates, which is definitely worse for everybody, including local communities, compared to not adding local development funds. So I do want to echo that AVA does have joint powers statement to serve the community, and for-profits don't. And I'm looking forward to seeing the productive surplus materialize so we can spend that money and give back to communities where we were planning to. My take on the board meeting.
Great. Thank you. Are there any further comments? I did want to add to, we were going to discuss I'm blanking on it now. We were going to discuss something the San Leandro reversal. Were we going to do that at some point today, or we'll just mention it quickly? Okay. That will come up in the board meeting. Another thing for you guys, another piece of homework for you, to take a look at Bright Choice versus 100% renewable. With that, are there any questions in the room? We have a question. Okay.
Member not. Member not? Your hand is raised.
Yes, hopefully you folks can all hear me here from Stockton, California. This is my first official meeting as a CAC member. I unfortunately failed to qualify properly as a remote location for the last meeting. And I also welcome my colleague from Stockton, Tanisha Raj, by the way. I see it's up there. But what I wanted to mention was I did, even though I didn't qualify properly with the posted notices and all, I did it right this time. But I wanted you to know I was on the entire meeting, which I want to say was 2 hours and 50 minutes or something like that. So I followed the entire discussion about how the budget changed and the revenue forecast changed from the $250 million deficit to, I believe it was $130 million on the plus side. And so that a $10 million fund for local sustainable energy development grants, I believe it was, were restored for the Bay Area. So I just wanted to, I found that very fascinating. It's very technical. It's a little bit over my head at this point, but I'm working hard on it. And maybe I can come to the meeting in person next month. This month has been very difficult for me because I'm heavily involved with a major issue with our local transit district, which I used to be a member of. But I just wanted you to know I'm really appreciative to be on board tonight with the Zoom meeting as part of the CAC meeting.
Well, welcome, Nate. Great to know you. Great to meet you. I do believe that next meeting will be September. Yeah, so we get a break in August, and so do you.
Great, because my 41st anniversary is in August.
Oh, good.
I know last year I had to go and I've been on the AB 617 committee in Stockton for 6 years now, which is the $32 million clean up the air thing for San Joaquin County. And in the middle of my anniversary of Las Vegas, I managed to tap in on my phone to a Zoom meeting for the monthly meeting for that. So, but I'm glad to know that we'll probably get a break this year, but I will become very involved. I want you to know I'm a little bit of a greenhorn on the actual technical issues. Obviously, AVA has extraordinarily complicated regional issues related to energy delivery and the revenue and rate matters that come on board. And I know last week there was a ton of spreadsheets shown to us, which I greatly appreciated the significant detail provided to us, even though I couldn't absorb all of it. But just thank you so much for including me.
Oh, thank you, Nate, and thank you for your service. Are there any other comments before we move on? And you can lower your hand. Otherwise, we'll call on you again, Nate.
Well, I'm here ready to go. And again, I want to welcome Tanisha Raj. I believe there's 2 other Stocktonians who are also possibly remote tonight. I know there's 4 remote locations in Stockton.
Okay, we have another comments?
Public comment?
Public comment?
Are there no hands raised for public comment on this item? There's no hands raised. There's no
Okay, nobody in the room?
one in the room.
Very good. Well, at this time, we have a very exciting item, call it Charlie 5, Ava Bike Electric Extension. So let us welcome Mr. Brett.
Real quick,
Minutes.
we forgot to do minutes.
Pardon?
We forgot to do the minutes.
Oh, we didn't do the minutes.
Sorry, Brett,
Oh,
false
yes,
alarm.
we have to
Yeah.
vote.
Usually-
Apologize, sorry.
Usually
We do
reversed.
need to vote
It's
on the
usually
minutes.
reversed, yes.
Can we do that?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Anybody second? Thank you.
Second.
And public comment. And second is Robbins. And public comment.
Oh,
Public comment.
do we have any public comment on the minutes? Anybody have anything to say about the minutes for the meeting or last
I
meeting?
think there's a internal staff note on a typo, like asking someone about something else in the meeting minutes, just a minor note.
Please,
Yeah, I can email it to you.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So minutes as corrected, can you please
As corrected, yeah.
show? how many
Page
corrected?
3, third paragraph, there's a minor internal note.
Uh,
Before the CEO report. Other than that, it sounds good.
Okay. If you could email me the
Yeah,
the
yeah.
correction. But it's de minimis?
De minimis, yeah.
Great, thank you. Okay, so Vice Chair Balkasoon brought the motion and Member Riley seconded the motion. A roll call. Member Bierce,
Yes.
Member Riley,
Yes.
Member Edmonds. Yes? Yes, great, thank you. Member Swaminathan, Member Lochman,
Yes.
Member Epperson, Member Harper,
Yes.
thank you. Member Halafia,
Yes.
Member Knott,
I will abstain since I wasn't officially in the meeting.
great, thank you. Member Raj,
Yes.
Member Roberts,
Yes.
Vice Chair Balkason,
Yes.
Chair Souza,
Yes,
minutes are approved.
thank you for that. And now we will move on to the bike story by Brett.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm Brett Wiley, and I lead AVA's electric mobility programs. This includes AVA Bike Electric, which last week crossed the 1-year mark of serving our community. Adrian? Given the impact over the past year and ongoing demand, I'm here today to present a staff proposal on extending the program by an additional 12 months through calendar year 2027, and to add $2 million to the program budget through already board-approved but unearmarked vehicle electrification program funds. Before going into detail on the proposal, I'll provide an overview and share impact to date in the program. You can go another one. AVA Bike Electric was conceptualized as a service area-wide program available to any AVA customer regardless of income level or housing type. Those interested fill out a brief 2-minute application to enter a monthly random drawing, which was essential for fairness, knowing that demand would far outstrip the funding we had for roughly 8,000 e-bike rebates. Folks are notified whether or not they're selected in each monthly random drawing, and can be in up to 6 consecutive drawings without being selected before they need to reapply. Rebate holders can use those funds at a local participating bike shop as a point of sale voucher to deduct off the total receipt, which bike shops are then reimbursed within 10 business days. Equity is designed into the program from the start, with at least 40% of the incentive funds and 100% of the safety equipment funds for income qualified participants. Beyond the electricity service AVA provides, we help people electrify their homes, businesses, and the way they get around. Newer technology can feel out of reach, though, and be packed with myths. We think if people see how easy, fun, and affordable an e-bike can be, it will help them consider electrifying other parts of their life that have been locked up by fossil fuels, such as stoves, water heaters, and vehicles. E-bikes provide an affordable, energy-efficient alternative to driving, lowering fuel costs for participants while increasing the use of AVA's clean electricity service. Supporting e-bikes also helps make sustainable transportation accessible, strengthens our local partnerships with local businesses and communities, and reduces road congestion. This last goal is especially important to our program co-funder, Alameda County Transportation Commission. Our current program budget is $10 million, with $6 million from AVA's net revenues and a $4 million grant from Alameda CTC. A requirement of that funding is that we had to make the program open to all adult residents of Alameda County and not just AVA customers. This is why we work closely with Alameda Municipal Power to include the city of Alameda in this program. 2 years ago, I came to the CAC to present on the contract with Aptum, our program administrator that manages the random drawings, rebate holder support, bike shop participation, and rebate redemption. Last July, our program smoothly launched and has run monthly rebate random drawings ever since as scheduled. This program is currently scheduled for its last random drawing in September and would end in December. Program interest has largely thrived with community partner promotion, earned media, and word of mouth. AVA only sent out one email to those on our newsletter when our program launched, intentionally held off until 3 months post-launch to assess who actually needed more resources to be engaged. In that assessment, we noticed that Stockton, Tracy, Lathrop, and Fremont applications were lagging compared to the proportion of their residential accounts in AVA service. As a result, we developed a targeted marketing campaign that included emailing every residential customer in those San Joaquin County jurisdictions and including the program materials during the enrollment period for unincorporated San Joaquin County, and emailed 10,000 Fremont customers that boosted participation well above what it was prior. So far in the program, you can go back one. So far in the program, over 6,000 new e-bikes have been purchased, and 55% of the rebate funds have been redeemed by income qualified participants. Beyond these top line metrics, there are some really other important outcomes. And a lot of them are listed here for your reference. I'll touch on a core takeaway for each one. Oh, can you move the video so that people could see?
I'm not sure.
That's okay. That's all right. It's in your materials for reference. As an update today, more than 30,000 eligible people have applied to the program, and the AVA Bike Electric page is the most visited on AVA's website since last July. Both of these make this program by far the most recognized ever for our agency. We have 29 local participating bike shops in every AVA's jurisdiction that has a qualifying one. This program has bolstered sales in the slower winter months for these local businesses and at a time of economic uncertainty. Every dollar in rebates goes right back into the community. And because our program is an e-bike rebate and not an e-bike giveaway, it also means that participants are investing in their local businesses too. Every $1 in rebates has generated $1.71 in new sales that in turn contributes to local tax revenue. The program user experience has been a particular bright spot as bike shops and lower income residents already felt burned by the state's now closed e-bike rebate program. In general, everyone is shocked at how easy the program is to use and participate in. We've also made iterative improvements along the way that have contributed to a 23% increase in rebate redemption rates. Our program is providing value. As 96% of those surveyed said our rebate was a top driver for them to get an e-bike. Transportation access goes beyond a rebate towards the bike and directly helps folks afford getting around at a time when gas costs have skyrocketed. $5.50 was the average price for a gallon of gas across Ava's 2-county service area a few weeks ago when I was preparing for this presentation. As an e-bike rider on Ava's 100% renewable electricity service, that person could get over 1,800 miles on an e-bike or 57 miles worth of gas in a new Toyota Prius. We see this directly contributing to the outcomes of how people are using e-bikes in their first 30 days, which is when we send out our surveys. And 62% of those surveyed report driving less and 89% biking more. This directly benefits those users in many ways, while also benefits everyone in reducing road congestion and local air pollution. Every 23 e-bikes purchased in the program has the greenhouse gas equivalent of taking one fossil fuel car off the road every year. Ava's brand is benefiting too. Since launching a year ago, the program has generated 44 media hits, over 83,000 new users have visited our website, and our customers are taking notice. Ava's customer satisfaction scores during that time have gone up 11 points to 73%, which is not entirely related to the program, since Ava and my colleagues deliver many services, programs, and benefits to our communities that they also love. However, 65% of all positive sentiments about Ava during that time are directly related to Ava Bike Electric. We also see this program as supporting our local jurisdictions in meeting your goals and providing programmatic capacity and measured outcomes to achieve them. We did an analysis of 9 climate action plans, or CAPs, and found they all call for these 4 things: mode shifting, reduced driving, increased biking, and equitable access. But few of those CAPs specify how those goals could be achieved. Ava Bike Electric bridges delivery gaps. These 6 key CAP measures are directly benefiting from more e-bikes on the road as a result of Ava's program. This table shows Ava's service jurisdictions, the proportional percentage of Ava's residential accounts by that jurisdiction, and how that compares to the proportional share of rebates redeemed in the program as of May 31st. A few important things to note. City of Alameda is not served by Ava, but as I mentioned, is in this program since we receive funding from Alameda CTC to serve all of the county. Our unincorporated service area is captured in the county totals below, and the proportional percentage of applicants and rebates dispersed largely tracks with the rebates redeems figure, so we decided to leave them off the tables to provide a simpler view. Program participation is fairly proportional relative to who Ava serves, with the exception of San Joaquin County, where, as I mentioned, we have focused heavier targeted marketing efforts and campaigns. I think this could be largely attributed to differences in biking across those 2 counties, not related to the program. For example, Alameda County has more dense biking infrastructure to facilitate easier biking and the proliferation of businesses that serve the existing and growing biking community. After looking at the impact of the past year, I'll now turn into what's proposed for the year to come. Ava is currently developing a customer programs roadmap, which is underway and will not be completed this year. Extending Ava Bike Electric continues a popular program and advances the transition to clean electric mobility option for customers. A 12-month extension is a short-term bridge to meet ongoing and rising program demand in parallel with completing the customer programs roadmap that would strategically research, design, and plan our transportation electrification programs beyond 2027. There is flexibility in the budget allocated for this program extension. Staff recommends adding $2 million to the program that would result in an estimated 1,600 e-bikes purchased, while keeping all existing program rules and assumptions the same. This would allow the program to extend for an additional year at a lower but reasonable run rate that responds to applicants' demand and that local bike shops can easily support, while supporting them with a longer window to stabilize their businesses before the program eventually winds down. The proposed $2 million extension would generate approximately $3.4 million in additional revenue to these local businesses and support local jobs. If the board increases program funding, the minimum recommended budget is $1.5 million, since administrative fees would increase if the budget fell below this amount, thereby reducing the value delivered to customers. Alternatively, The board could authorize even more funding, with staff recommending a cap of $3 million based on the available vehicle electrification funds. Regardless of the board's decision, AVA will thoughtfully wind down the program to ensure a soft landing for our local bike shops and provide evergreen materials to our customers to still learn about e-bikes and resources across Alameda and San Joaquin counties. This table represents the balance of AVA's local development budget for this fiscal year and what is earmarked. Our proposal for the one-year extension of AVA Bike Electric is funded through the reallocating of a portion of the $3.6 million in vehicle electrification funds that have already been allocated by the board, but not committed to another project. Thank you for your time and consideration of this proposal, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Brett. Wonderful program. I did want to have, I had one question. There was a question about charging stations. Is there such a thing as a bike charging station?
There are in some places bike charging stations, but they're really not necessarily needed infrastructure. As mentioned on, bikes can have hundreds of miles in a charge, and most people can just charge those in a standard 120 volt outlet at their home or apartment complex or work. And so, yeah, it's not really needed infrastructure relative to how EV chargers for vehicles are.
Okay, just a thought. I was thinking he was Douglas was either talking, was his name Douglas? About car charging stations or bike charging stations. I didn't realize that there were bike charging stations or the idea of a bike charging station. Are there any other questions? Oh, we've got some questions. I think we'll start with the public. So, Jim. Just gonna have to share the mic.
Jim Lutz, I'm actually very encouraged to see the response and see how
Can't hear you,
excited
Jim.
people are about it. So I like that a lot. Do you have any data on how many miles people have ridden their bikes? Because the data in the slide was 98, some large percentage said they increased, but it didn't say miles. And a very silly question is, how much extra electricity did Ava sell because people are charging their electric bikes? I expect it to be like $10 worth, but it is a positive that should be noted.
Yeah, I can comment on the first one and both, but we have data on the first one. So as mentioned, our surveys are sent to participants within the 30 days after they redeem their rebate and get their bike. So we have data on the first 30 days that we've extrapolated and estimated throughout the rest of their time in the first year. We are about to send out a one-year survey to understand how those participants 365 days later still use their e-bike and what miles they have on it. But in the first 30 days, and this is across the first 12 months of the program, folks are averaging 57 miles of biking in their first 30 days. In terms of the electricity sales, it's fairly negligible. As mentioned, e-bikes are fairly energy efficient. It's not meant to be a revenue center for the agency, but it's something that, based on the mileage estimates and backwards calculating, we could eventually understand what dollars went back to AVA, but it's not something that is a priority for the program.
There's one additional public comment.
Okay.
Jessica Tovar, you're recognized for 3 minutes.
Hi, everyone. Jessica Guadalupe Tovar with the Local Clean Energy Alliance. I want to remind the Community Advisory Committee that last month we learned that what's left in the local development business plan budget is $14.2 million, of which the board has yet to commit any additional funds, and for the first time ever, didn't during its fiscal budget. So I'm assuming that the ask is to take money from the 14.2 million to add to this program. And I think it would be more helpful to the decision makers if the budget was laid out in the dollar amounts of what's left in each line item versus the image that we're given today that actually outlines all the money that was allocated over the years, because I think that that's very misleading. I do think that there's a lot of value in this program, but I will say, working with immigrant folks who really want access to these e-bikes, they still could not afford it with a rebate. So I want to name that. So again, we're dealing with $14.2 million, of which the board has yet to put money back. You're asking for $2 million or up to $3 million. That will only bring the local development business plan fund down. I do think instead of piecemealing programs, we should see the entirety of that 14.2 and the breakdown of that, and then decide how to spend that money. That's just my thought off the bat. But I just wanted to share that and remind you that that's what we talked about last month. Clean power to the people.
Thank you, Jessica.
There are no further hands raised at this time.
Are there, oh, we had some comments in the room, though. We'll start with Indira.
My question's related to the vehicle electrification. Is that seems to me vehicle electrification is very important as well. What's the rationale for wanting to put some of that money into the e-bike program versus the vehicle electrification program?
You want to take it, JP? Yeah, I can cover that. So we have a variety of transportation and vehicle electrification activities. We have Ava Charge, we have our bike electric program, we have our smart home charging, and the vehicle electrification budget is not earmarked, so we don't have plans for that as shown on slide 12. And so the other three programs have specific activities underway, so it wouldn't make sense to pull from one of them, and that's why we propose to pull from the vehicle electrification budget.
Wait, so JP, so you're saying the 8.1 million and 4.5 is earmarked?
Earmarked, yeah, that's a loan to Forum Mobility for a medium and heavy duty charging site that they have been planning to build in Livermore. So that's why that is earmarked. So the remaining 3.6 is not earmarked, meaning it doesn't have anything to be spent on now, and we would come back to the board to propose to spend those unearmarked funds, which is what we're doing right now.
And they're not earmarked, why?
There's been a variety of activities that haven't resulted in a full expenditure of program budgets in the past. And so not the earmarked are things that we have plans for or under contract.
And I just have this is a little bit from the board of directors meeting last month, but is it true we don't have a grants manager?
That is true.
Thank you. Are there further questions? Go ahead.
Hi, Brody here. I have a couple of questions. First, thank you for providing all of the metrics, Brett, regarding the program. I'm curious with zooming out a little bit, you mentioned the alignment to climate action plans for local cities. Is there some long-term goal of reaching a certain level of community adoption of residents choosing bikes over vehicles, or a percentage of bikes on the road as compared to vehicles? And I ask because, we're discussing a 1-year extension of the pilot. And I'm just wondering, like, in an ideal world, how would we think beyond that? Is there a goal or a metric that would be something that's maybe possibly attainable, or that could be a mark to try to reach?
Great. Yeah, so the caps are run by the cities, and transportation goals like the number of bikes on the road is largely a goal by the transportation associations like Alameda County Transportation Commission or Metropolitan Transportation Commission. It's not a discrete goal of AVA to change how many vehicles are on the road and at what percentages. But as mentioned, with the funding we have from Alameda CTC, we are tracking how this program shifts modes of how people get around pre and post having an e-bike. That's data that we'll present to Alameda CTC as a way of helping them understand where their investments could go, but it wouldn't necessarily be a key driver for the way AVA is depicting our investments in terms of mode shifting, because that's just not a purpose of the agency. But yeah, I mean, we work with our jurisdictions all the time. So if a program like this does help our cities reach some of their goals, we can report out on that and partner with them. I think the piece about the 1 year, I just want to call back to the comment I made about the customer programs roadmap. The reason why we're proposing a 1 year extension isn't because we aren't thinking strategically about the long term. It's that the customer programs roadmap is going to be delivered over the next year, and that will drive our long-term strategy. So in the meantime, because this program is operating well, we want to create a bridge in the short term to extend that program instead of making long-term investments that the roadmap will actually dictate.
Got it. Thank you. One other question, kind of speaking to Jessica's question around a cost barrier for even with the rebate bikes being expensive. Are there other options such as an electric scooter that might be cheaper than an e-bike and would maybe be accessible for folks who aren't comfortable on a bike? Has that been explored, just alternatives to a bike, but other forms of electric transportation?
Yeah, we are keeping it focused on bikes. We haven't explored scooters or anything. And so just leave it at that. I will say on cost and affordability, we do have price points that we feel like meet a lot of people. I mean, for most people, there will be some money left over, even if it's just sales tax. That's everyone has to pay the sales tax on the end receipt. But if someone is income qualified, they get $1,000 off of a standard bike. And one of the cheaper models in the program costs around $1,000. So we do try to have a lot of models in the program. We have nearly 300 e-bike models that are qualified in the program at many different price points, many different styles and needs for different people. And we do try to help those people that are price sensitive to the right bike shops to get the bike that fits their budget. And we also, for income qualified participants, have a $250 safety equipment voucher, because part of the program's goals is not just fun and affordable, but safe e-biking. And for income qualified participants, that $250 can go towards helmet locks and lights. And from what we've heard, that largely covers those items so people can feel confident riding.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Brett. Are there any further questions? Okay, Davis.
Hello. Thank you for the presentation. That was super informative, and it seems like a really successful program so far. I had questions really focused around the Stockton, Lathrop, Tracy applications lagging. You mentioned you developed a targeted marketing campaign, emailing every customer in those jurisdictions, and that boosted participation. I think it was something like well above what it was prior. Could you put some numbers to that, and then also share if you did any data collection on the zip codes, like for where folks were coming from, or if it was really mostly high level city of Stockton proper? Then yeah, I'll stop there. I have a handful of other questions, but thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks. We don't have marketing data, that kind of nuanced marketing data offhand, but I'm happy to get that and report back. And I also don't have zip code data at this time. I will say, and I can provide this too, but our participation in Stockton, Tracy, and Lathrop has a higher proportion of income qualified participants compared to the rest of the program. So we do believe we're not just reaching high income earners in those three jurisdictions. We're reaching a wide spread of people. But happy to share that information later.
Thanks. That would be great. And that definitely makes sense. I think it's like 42% of Stockton customers are Terra, so that naturally makes sense that would be the case. And I was just curious that you mentioned you'd done an email marketing campaign. Did you do any contracting with like trusted messenger organizations for any of the outreach to enroll new customers, or it was strictly direct to customer email marketing?
Direct to email customer marketing was the priority. With those 3 jurisdictions, we partnered with the cities on a co-branded campaign to use their logos, and all the city marketing staff signed off on our messages for each of those jurisdictions to make sure they were location appropriate. We have also, part of the targeted marketing campaign is our engagement team has a community partners group that's with local affiliate organizations, and those organizations have emailed their members as well.
Okay, awesome. I might encourage for a future round to actually looking at compensated support for different CBOs that can help provide outreach, not just to get people enrolled, but also to maybe do some surveying and understand are these incentives like high enough to get a good reliable volume of people? Or is there really because you're assuming here that poor biking infrastructure is the reason that you're not getting broad uptake. Not a bad conclusion. I just want to say I don't necessarily think you've done all of your homework to be able to assert that without kind of getting deeper in the community and actually talking to people. Assuming the marketing was just in English, did you do Spanish or any other languages?
Yeah, so all of our email marketing is in English, but folks can click into our website to get that message in any language through Google Translate. All of our materials, all of our physical materials, and our digital brochures are in English, Spanish, and simplified Chinese.
Okay, gotcha. That's helpful. Yeah, this I think is just a general recommendation. I would really like to see a little bit more of an emphasis on getting to the why around program uptake and yeah, just trying to figure out if, like you say, if the funding is enough for people from various backgrounds, and if there are like concerns with bike safety, like let's hear that from people directly rather than assuming that's what the issue is. Because that's useful information as well for going and working with city and county to address certain areas to make these kinds of programs more viable. And for me, like seeing 13% and 4% on the Stockton numbers, it's an equity issue, like geographically. This is supposed to be a, service area wide program, and we have a disproportionately larger share of customers and not a high amount of uptake on a program. So we're losing out. So that's why I highlight these things that I think it warrants a little bit more investment. And I'm glad also that you brought up the customer programs roadmap, because that's another opportunity to look like a bigger step out and figure out specifically for Stockton, San Joaquin County, is e-biking really the highest priority for all of the various types of programming and incentives and financing and so on and so forth, decarbonization programs that can be provided to folks. So.
All right, thank you
Thanks
so much. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Divs. Okay, are there any further comments? Go
A quick
ahead.
question is, how do you sunset the program like this?
How did we set it up?
How do you plan to sunset it?
Oh, sunset it. Well, a few ways. One, we would let the community know that the program is sunsetting. We would start ramping down marketing, so we're not driving demand and putting a false promise in front of people. And also starting to taper off the amount of rebates we're giving out on a given month. We want to make sure it's a soft landing for bike shops and they're not just getting a lot of business and then, in month 0 post-program, they have very little coming in. So those are some of the ways.
Yeah, I want to remind everybody that this is to hopefully extend the bike program for an additional year. So we may not be sunsetting yet. And this is, we will be taking a vote in a little bit to make a recommendation to the board. Are there any further questions? Oh, go ahead. Did you have questions? Oh, okay.
I'm thinking about the roadmap and what Jessica Tovar was asking about, that $14.2 million. Will the roadmap include that $14.2 million, or will we be hearing, let's add, so much more money to each program that's on this list? Or what's the thinking around that,
I'll let JP take that one.
JP?
Yeah, we'll certainly be looking at the existing budget that has been provided and that we have access to for within the roadmap, and then also be looking at a longer range kind of budgeting allocation recommendations for, what are the programs that could be coming forward from the roadmap, and what is the appropriate funding in order to achieve the goals of those programs. So it'll be, both looking at what are the existing budget that we have, and then what's the type of budget that would be recommended to be requesting from the board on a go-forward basis.
So, sorry if I'm confused about all this, but so what the balance is on that chart here, the 83.6, that's what's been programmed and committed.
Correct.
And then the roadmap's going to cover the earmarked. Because these are earmarked, but that's still 14.2 million short of the 89 million.
No, the 14.2 million is what is unearmarked. So
Unearmarked,
those are
okay.
funds that we do not have contracted or planned to spend.
Okay.
And that's why the 2 million that we are recommending for bike electric would come from that
Come from
unearmarked
that.
14
Okay.
million. Yes. So we're not planning to hold this funding from an existing program or any planned activities. It is unplanned. That's
Okay.
why we term it unearmarked.
I got it.
Non-earmarked.
I'm confused about the earmark. And so is the roadmap, is that different than the local business development plan? How do those interface?
Yeah, so the local development business plan was developed in 2017 to 2019. And so this is the look forward, a strategic road mapping from 2027 and beyond.
Okay, so it's kind of taking the place of, or it's acting in the same.
Yeah, it's a revised strategic customer programs roadmap.
Okay, and we're calling it, okay, so we're just calling it a roadmap, but it's the same thing basically as the local business
Well,
development.
the local development business plan had a wide variety of goals and activities and recommendations across the agency. The work we're doing now is focused on customer programs.
Okay.
Yeah,
So the other aspects that are not in the roadmap, where are they being addressed? Are they not, is that,
Yeah, the roadmap is for our customer programs.
Customer program,
Roadmap.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, the local development business plan had recommendations like you should set up a strong data team and you should be getting lots of billing data. I mean, there's a wide variety. It's an example of something that's not really, that facilitates
okay,
kind of customer programs and the outreach that we're doing, the marketing, it helps that happen. But there were a lot of different recommendations within the local development business plan. And this next piece of work is focused on our customer programs.
okay. Thank you. It's all pieces. I'm just trying to bring
Sure.
that together in my head.
Go ahead, Tom.
So Tom Evans, I had a question about the choice for vehicle electrification. I'm looking at the table here and the smart home charging project looks like it's about 70% unearmarked. So why choose vehicle electrification instead of smart home charging? Or split between those two accounts?
Sure. So we have a smart home charging program underway, and we have contracted for that amount. That's why there's less in the earmark than unearmarked. If that program is successful and we scale it, we want to have those funds available to allocate to increase the contracts to enable more volume and more work within smart home charging. So that's the rationale for recommending to pull the funding from the vehicle electrification budget versus an actual existing and running program, even though that program isn't fully contracted for that amount. But
Okay, thank
these budgets are fungible, right? Like if there's always an opportunity to move things around if we wanted to at a later date.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. Are any further comments? I have some comments. I am going to send out an article. It hit the hammer hit the nail on many of what the CAC will be thinking about. It's I don't know if you know him. His name is Bill McKibben, or is a Klein Show. It was in the New York Times, and it hits on many things. about climate change, about even electric bikes. And I'm just going to read you one of the things that Bill McKibben said about electric bikes. Is for people who like cars, once you've been in an EV, you're not going back to a gas car. Even better than an EV is the e-bike, which I think may turn out to be the transformative invention of our time on Earth, which is a huge statement from, he's an older guy like me. I have an e-bike myself and I love it. I don't use it enough. I was not able to take part in the program because number one, I already had it. And second, since I'm a CAC member, I am not entitled to the rebate or applying for the rebate, that is. So that said, being that, there's riding a normal bike and then transformative, getting on an e-bike and feeling that freedom, that same freedom as being on a bike, I think that, again, it's very transformative. It's a great introduction into electric and the power of electrification. And so I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm going to recommend, my vote's for extending it. I'd love to hear other ideas from Ava about helping the community and lowering prices. I think this is a good spend of money. So at this point, I'd like to look at moving to a vote. Are we ready?
Can I add one comment before the vote? There's a packet of public comment, and it seems like there's counting 20 emails in support of the AVA electric bike program from residents who have taken advantage of the program or noticed increased community members biking on the road. So I think that's important to note before we vote.
Great, thank you
Chair
for-
Souza, a motion has not been made yet. So you're welcome to make a motion and then we
Okay,
can do it.
I can try.
please do.
Motion to recommend continuing the program, extending the program for another year.
Great. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, looks like we,
Second from
Member Beers.
Mayor Beers. Are we ready for the roll call vote?
please.
Thank you. Member Beers,
Yes.
Member Riley,
Yes.
Member Edmonds,
Yes.
Member Lochman,
Yes.
Member Epperson,
Yes.
Member Harper,
Yes.
Member Halafia,
Yes.
Member Knott,
Yes.
Member Raj,
Yes.
Member Roberts,
Yes.
Vice Chair Buckelson,
Yes.
Chair Souza.
Yes,
Passes unanimously.
thank you. We have the Echo Block grant on the table here. It's another board of director action item, which we will hopefully come to some sort of recommendation on. So, well, I believe it's JP.
Yeah, I'll be speaking to this tonight.
you.
Good evening. Sorry,
Do you want me to bring it?
you can bring the staff report up, sure. Good evening, members of the CAC. My name is JP Ross, Vice President of Local Development here at AVA. Did want to bring to your attention tonight a consent item that we have on the board agenda for visibility. This is a proposal to fund the Oakland Eco Block project, which is been a long-running neighborhood decarbonization pilot program. It's been underway for multiple years now. And the City of Oakland and the University of California came to us with a request to fill a funding gap to complete the electrification of many households within the Eco Block project. There's 25 households on a block in the Fruitvale district of Oakland that's been going through a large amount of electrification to increase and to improve and replace service panels, and then do a wide variety of electrification work to be a pilot for neighborhood decarbonization. There's broader legislative work underway through Bill SB 1220, which is identifying multiple neighborhoods for potential decarbonization across the state. And this Eco Block project is a longstanding pilot to prove out that model, to determine if neighborhood decarbonization can provide some economies of scale and allow for blocks and areas connected to the natural gas network can actually be turned off in an effort to achieve the state's climate goals. So this particular project has been underway for a while. It's got about $8.3 million worth of funding from a variety of sources, including the state and some philanthropic funds, and has largely met its goals of electrifying about 25 buildings, 24 of which are residential, one of which is commercial. And they had some funding to complete some electrification on the remaining households. That funding fell through. And they have requested that AVA step in and support that. So it's a little over $100,000, about $113,000 worth of electrification that includes some induction stoves, some electrical work to enable that installation, and a variety of other electrification measures. 6 of those households that are participating, that this funding would be supporting our care, so low-income households within this neighborhood. And then once this work is complete, all the households that are participating in the Eco Block project will have the opportunity to turn off natural gas supply to the households, which is a critical step in neighborhood decarbonization. So that's what's on the consent item for the board. This is an exciting opportunity to learn and to provide a little bit of gap-filling funding to an important partnership to test out this neighborhood decarbonization strategy. And the learnings from this we can certainly pull from as we look to step in and help this across the finish line. And then also thinking about it as far as other broader decarbonization efforts as SB 1220 starts to be enacted. And there's a large number of neighborhoods in AVA's service territory, which are potential sites for SB 1220. But that's something that we would be looking at the roadmap, again, the strategic customers roadmap, to see if that's something that AVA wants to participate in going forward. So the funding here would be coming from our community grants budget. It's going to a 501c3 or not 501c3, but it would be going to the University of California to institute these electrification measures and finish out this Eco Block project.
Well, that's exciting. Can we have some public comment? Would you? Yes, thank you. Oh, no, you were first. Jim, she raised her hand. Thank you. And then you next. Sorry, I don't remember your name.
Thank you. Hi, good evening. This is Feng Shizheng, campaign organizer with Local Clean Energy Alliance. Thanks for the opportunity to comment. And first of all, I'd like to acknowledge that Eco Block is a strong program, and it has the potential to deliver meaningful whole benefits to communities through resilience building and decarbonization efforts. So it does look like a very strong program, and we hope programs like Eco Block succeed in every possible way. And meanwhile, I'd like to just navigate our attention to the process of awarding grants from Local Development Fund. With remaining of Local Development Fund resource becoming increasingly limited, it's essential that these funds be allocated through fair, transparent, and competitive process, which means the grant process should be open to all applicants, and all the community organization has the chance to apply. Especially during this difficult time, we think transparency is very important. We would like to encourage AVA team to provide adequate public notice as well before making significant grant funding decisions, because major funding proposal should first be presented as informal items so that CAC members and board member can take sufficient time to review committee discussion, stakeholder feedback, and thoughtful deliberation before funding decision is made. I really appreciate the consideration of this suggestion, and thank you for your continued leadership.
Thank you, Puna. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, Jim Lutz again. I want to support Feng Shui's statement. I'm really torn on this. I know about the EcoBlock project. It would have been great to have some of the presentations I've seen on it to explain to the CAC members what it is. I support what they're doing, but I'm very conflicted because this is taking money away from community grants. If there's an assurance that that 150,000 will be put back in within a year, 6 months, then I might not feel quite so conflicted. But with a budget so tight and all the concern that we heard at the board about spending money when the budget is fluctuating like crazy, that I'm thinking maybe we shouldn't do it unless there is some process to make sure that money, that 150,000, gets put back and put back into a process that has a fair, transparent, open process to allocate where that goes. And maybe looking forward for things like this, there should be an emergency reserve fund similar to the rate stabilization fund for projects that have shortfalls that AVA would like to see completed, but the funding didn't happen. So unless there's a way to assure that that funding gets back into the community grants funds, I would speak against this. Even though I'm totally in favor of the project, I don't think it's appropriate to come in and yank monies out at the last minute without a way of replenishing them.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Jessica Tovar, you're recognized for 3 minutes.
Hi, everyone. Jessica Tovar again, Local Clean Energy Alliance. I just want to uplift again. We're talking about using local development funds that we learned were $14.2 million left, and the board did not commit to adding any more money. The other thing I want to uplift is historically, there's always been a public process where there's an announcement of grant funds and a process where other organizations and entities could apply for the money, as well as an ad hoc committee made up of community advisory committee members and board members to field those applications and decide who to grant the monies to. And that process should be transparent and fair and should also include, you know, communities that this agency serves in the 2 territories, in the 2 counties. So I want to uplift that is how this has been done before, and that there is a process for that. And I also want to just uplift, we absolutely love the EcoBlock demonstration project, but there are also other demonstration projects in the community. There is a thermal energy network that's being developed by Oak Tree. They could use funds like this. I'm sure that if we were to put out, a solicitation, we'd learn about a lot of different demonstration projects throughout the territory. And this is why local development monies being allocated is so important, because our communities need to build these kinds of projects within our communities in order to actualize that clean energy future that we need to see. Clean power to the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica.
There are no further hands raised this time.
Okay, go ahead, Tom.
I had a question about the cost of this program. So it was 8.3 million for 25 units for electrical panels. That seems like a $4,000 job, so that's 100,000. And then 15 properties with solar panels. So I had solar panels on my house for about $20,000. So that's another 300,000. So how do we get up to 8.3 million? Are they big apartment complexes we're dealing with and not homes?
No, so the EcoBlock has gone through a variety of efforts to try and get, neighborhoods to participate. They've actually had to move neighborhoods from, their first selected neighborhood. So this has been a longstanding work stream. We are coming in at the last minute to try to help get it across the line at the end. Yes, this was not $8 million to upgrade 25 service panels. There's a considerable amount of other work that we are not funding that is not, listed here. So we're not here to identify whether or not the 8.3 million was efficiently spent for EcoBlock, but we are trying to get these, last electrification measures so that these households have the opportunity to turn gas off at the end of this effort.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I misunderstood. So the 150,000 is just for the 25 panels and the 15 rooftops?
No, the 150,000 is for induction ovens, electrical work to enable the induction ovens, induction ready cookware, and a few other electrical items, electric dryers, and such to, it's kind of the final degasification of 15 households to fully electrify those 15 households.
So 10,000 a household. Okay, thanks.
Right, thank you. Are there any other questions? Go ahead, Indira. Go ahead, Indira.
So if we did not fund this, what would happen to the program?
Then they would go try to find funding elsewhere. And they came to us because they were not able to find funding elsewhere to complete these projects.
JB, do you consider this to be a distributed energy resource project?
I certainly think it's a distributed energy resource project. They've done a considerable amount of electrification work there. They're going to be also installing solar and storage, and we would be looking to enroll those customers in our smart home battery program. And I think more importantly, this is an example of the work that it takes to do neighborhood decarbonization. There's not only a lot of infrastructure development work, there is a massive amount of community engagement and education that needs to go into, not only discussing, electrifying a single appliance or a single household, but what does that look like at a neighborhood level? Because in order to actually turn off gas supply, you have to get a high number of people, everybody, if you really want to turn off the reticulated gas network to a particular neighborhood, everybody has to agree, no more gas, and I'm going to fully electrify the household. That's where a lot of the work and expense has come in around community organizing and getting, those households to participate, even identifying a neighborhood who's willing to discuss what that outcome would look like is a tremendous amount of work. So, there's a lot of different things at play when you're trying to, organize a community of households to make a pretty substantial decision when we are all very used to having natural gas in our daily lives. That's a big transition.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, so I've heard the phrase the opportunity to turn off the gas. Does that mean they don't have to, even after going through all these efforts?
Not every household, the households are not required to turn off gas as part of the EcoBlock project. That is a question that we had for them.
Go ahead.
I just want to add that, talking about DERS, I just got an email from Eliza Wood, who's part of Energy Changemakers, and talking about how California is hesitating on DERS technology. And so I just think that any examples we can have where there's a potential to turn off natural gas and to pull together data that shows that distributed energy can work in neighborhoods is a really valuable opportunity. And obviously Cal thought so too, which is why they did this project. So I understand transparency is very important, but I also think we don't want to get our eye off the prize of decarbonization.
Great, thank you. I too, I'm excited about this project. First of all, I should ask if there are any other questions. Oh,
Yeah,
go
I have
ahead,
a
Brandon.
question. Speaking to some of the public comment, I'm just curious what the norm is for AVA if a project comes to AVA and requests funding. Is that, we one-off, or I'm saying AVA one-off, decides yes or no on that project versus, what Jessica was saying, put out a solicitation that funding is available where folks can apply for that funding through a normalized process. Is this instant, something that AVA does often, or is this sort of different from typical process for allocating funding?
Sure. Yeah, appreciate the question. It's a challenge on, how do you remain flexible and able to support really strong opportunities, because sometimes that's going to come outside of your standard process. So our standard process for community grants has been, and we have always issued an open solicitation for our community grants and, identified grant opportunities through, communication work with our public stakeholders. So that's our standard process, and we're not varying from that. At the same time, when you get a great project opportunity and something that you want to support, then you have to figure out, well, how do you do that? So, our perspective on this was like, it's not a great process because we are being reactive, which we'd rather not be. And at the same time, you want to be able to support opportunistic ability to help something that's good get across the line, and certainly electrification and decarbonization and proving out some model of neighborhood decarbonization as a priority. So that's why we wanted to bring it to the CAC and bring it to the board. It is on consent at the board this Wednesday, but it's not. We are not planning to then be responsive in our future grant making. Our plan is still to issue solicitations, to identify grant opportunities in the future. And I think, through the strategic roadmap process, there is a question of, well, how much of that funding do you lock in, and do you leave some opportunity to be opportunistic when something comes forward that you want to support, and how do you make that equitable so that there's availability for multiple geographies, jurisdictions to be able to bring projects forward that aren't necessarily along a particular public process.
I don't know. Go ahead and ask.
JP, what program area is this 115,000 coming out of?
The $8.8 million in community grants.
The community grants, okay.
And it falls within the category of our research and innovation grant category.
Go ahead, Catherine.
Yeah, so I'm sorry if I was ready to this or not, but how was this grant item selected, like by staff, or how did this come to be on the agenda?
It was raised to us as an opportunity from City of Oakland and University of California, and then met with Annie, my boss, and our chief customer officer, and Howard. We agreed that the opportunity here was something that was worth consideration and worth proposal to the board, that this program was worth supporting.
Which was what? All right. Can we go back to public comment, or are we done?
That's
We have a
your-
public comment.
That's your call. Would you like to?
Jim, can you keep it to 1 minute, please? Thank you.
Going back to the page on the electric bike, how that electric bike was funded. There's a program area called Building Electrification. There's 14.6 million. Only 8.5 million is earmarked. It seems like this 150,000 should come from that rather than the community investment grants, because the community investment grants imply that there's a process where the community brings forward ideas, whereas this is clearly a building electrification. So just a suggestion for the CAC, a recommendation to the CAC.
Thank you, Jim. Kind of want to ask for any more questions. I have a question myself. So what is the timeline that we're looking for here? And is this the reason that we didn't go through a normal process? How much risk of the program is here? And is there a possibility? What happens if somebody else comes up with 150,000, say the University of California comes up with 150,000 to, or makes an agreement to do half of that amount? Has there been any consideration there? So basically, it's a two-part question. One is, how endangered is this project? And is this endangerment cause this reactive response? And second, is there a possibility somebody else coming forward to supply that shortfall?
I can't speak to whether or not somebody's going to come forward, because the city of Oakland and university said they came to us and they asked for this funding. They had additional funding through a different grant, and that grant for electrification ran out of funds, and so they're left with a shortfall. So I think if we choose not to fund this grant, then they will continue to have that shortfall, and they can either bring the block project to a close without doing this electrification work and leaving those gas appliances, in the households and roll it down, or they can potentially extend the program, though I know the funding is coming to an end, so they're going to have to bring it to a close at some point. That's why they've come to us to say there's a timely request. I know from my conversations with UC and City of Oakland, they're looking to try to get this across the line in July so that they can get the work completed, because the broader eco-block initiative is coming to a close. So they're on a clock, because they have certain administrative funds that they're using to run this program, and those are coming to a close. So that's the timing that they're bringing to us. Of course, we can choose not to support the program, and then they can continue to try to either find funds or wind it down. I mean, the other work has been done. The service panels have been improved. The community's been organized. The other activities are done. It's not like that stuff all goes away. But this is the funding gap to kind of complete that electrification work.
Okay. And the second part was, thank you, by the way. The second part of my question was, what was the timeline, and why are we in such a reactive mode on this particular? Was it just the shortfall? Just we were just notified of that?
Yes, we were notified recently we thought about it internally and brought it to the next board meeting after we'd been made aware of this opportunity.
Okay. Yeah, obviously that's a bit of a concern, that our normal processes have been, I don't want to say the word bypassed, but that is not the usual deliberation that comes with spending. And so, maybe Catherine or somebody could come up with an idea of how to say, okay, well, in the future, if there's 150,000, there's more freedom to move forward on a project. If it's 151,000, then we should do our usual process. But I don't know. I don't know if there's any recommendations from members here that might have some ideas regarding that. I see Davis's hand up. Thank you, Davis.
Thanks. I had a couple of quick questions. JP, I am generally supportive of this project. Like, I'm inclined to support it. It seems like a very good project and timely, like, response to get funding out the door. And I think of when like during the COVID pandemic, I was watching East Bay Community Energy shoveling funding to food banks and trying to be really responsive and reactive, and that was really inspiring to me. And on the other hand, like, I do have some concerns, I think, about the precedents that are set by like really quick, responsive, discretionary funding being moved. And I was wondering, like, if there are key factors that make a request like this catch the eye of Ava. I mean, is this because there is a really clear, easy, straightforward funding gap for installing equipment, that there are one-time purchases? Is there some framework you're operating from that is informing these kinds of decisions? And are you having discretionary funding requests on a monthly basis that you're saying no to, that we're like, none of us are ever really being privy to? I think it'd be helpful to kind of tease that out a bit more. And if not a lot of answers there, I think it would be really, really encouraging to be able to work together on trying to set like a policy for supportive, reactive, discretionary funding requests, as straightforward or not as that might seem.
Sure. Yeah, we don't get a lot of these, to be honest. And so it's not something that we've had to think about a lot. And in this case, a funding opportunity came up which was timely and fits squarely within our goals around electrification. It's cross-functional and it's kind of very innovative, and proving out something that we see as critical on our path to decarbonization. So it hit quite a few boxes as far as kind of fitting within our community grants kind of infrastructure, strategic plan that we've laid out to this body and this agency, and felt like a timely opportunity to help get something across the line. So I do think that having a framework around kind of how we can take requests like this is something that we want to think about within the strategic customer programs roadmap, because not everything kind of has the same timeliness as an annual grant solicitation or some other solicitation for a program, rollout. And so how do you balance those two things, and how do you make them equitable across, a very wide geographic coverage area where we're trying to do a lot of things? So I appreciate, the call out that having, if we are going to do this, how do we have a framework for deciding to do that? Again, this is kind of one that showed up, and why we wanted to bring it to you all and to the board for a decision, because it's not our normal open process. And so do we just always say no to those? If so, and that's the direction, then that's what we can do. In this case, we wanted to bring it forward to the CAC and the board, so that you all could provide some guidance on how we should respond to this opportunity.
Oh, I have a question. Are you done, Davis?
Oh, yeah, no, you answered my question.
Thank you. I
appreciate
just
it.
didn't want to jump on your question. I remember maybe about 6 months ago, Howard had asked about some discretionary funding up to 200,000 or something along those lines. I didn't know if that was part of the community budget or something else, but there was a fund. Maybe you don't remember it, but
I'm
okay.
sorry, I don't have a
All right.
recollection of that.
It just popped into my head. So I just, if you don't have the answer, that's fine. Indira has some
So I have a couple of
recommendations.
things. So just to re-ask what Jim was asking in terms of the building electrification, is there a reason that this is coming out of the community investment grants versus one of the other program areas?
So within our community grants, strategic categories, one of them is kind of research and innovation. There's a second one that is around kind of community empowerment and ownership. And then, we are looking at different building, vehicle, workforce development, education categories. So we have that framework for grants, and this particular fund or this particular funding opportunity really fits within that community grants framework. It's going out to an agency that is going to be deploying assets and learning a lot from that deployment within our communities. So that was why we brought it forward from the, to propose to use it from the community grants fund.
So from a logical perspective, I totally understand. But with the zero in the funding for the next fiscal year in the local business development planning, which I think it's local development business plan, and then the question of the transparency in terms of the community grants, I just think that, I mean, it's all logical, but it seems it's sending a message. And I think it's a concern, that message. And I don't think it's anybody's fault. Like, I think I am totally supportive of this program. It sounds amazing. The thing is that I think balancing that, it's confusing to me. So I'm wondering, I guess this is a question, is we talked about in the fall with after they do the audit, looking at the money there, and then talking about doing maybe a waterfall policy. Could we add that we maybe make a motion of agreeing with this, but with the caveat that we come up with a discretionary funding number that doesn't pull from the community grants, investment grants? Like, I mean, a lot of businesses have their own, like a slush amount, right? That you can just write a check. So could we say 200,000 or something? If it goes over 200,000, it has to be an open process. If it's, some number like that, and I don't know what that number would be. Is that a doable thing? I mean, because if we just say we support this, because I do support this program, but I don't want to send the message that we're supporting non-transparency and kind of not saying arbitrary, but do you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
I do. So our administrative procurement policy requires that anytime we want to go and go out and contract for something over $100,000, we issue a public solicitation.
Okay,
So
so
that
there's
we
a
already have
policy.
a public, we
Okay.
already have a policy. This is the area for transparency where we're bringing this opportunity forward. So because we did not issue that, we wanted to raise it up to you all and to the board and say this opportunity came forward. Here's an opportunity to support the EcoBlock program. It didn't go through our standard public procurement process. And therefore, we're raising it to this body and to our board to have a discussion around, do we want to spend the money in support of this project?
Do we want to make a suggestion along those lines? Can somebody come up with a number as far as, so, yes. Yeah, so a discretionary funding process so that community funds above 150,000 needs to go through a transparent deliberative process such as an ad hoc or some sort of, pre-meeting
I'll make a motion that can I make a motion that in this case, because of the special circumstances, that we recommend approval of your proposal with the caveat that anything over 150K goes out to a public process, or maybe it sounds like you might want to raise it more than 100K, but to have a discretionary amount of money.
Well, yeah, and as part of our standard community grants process, we do plan to issue solicitations, and anytime we are going to sign a contract for over $100,000, we do need to go out for a solicitation. So that's going to be our standard process. In this case, we didn't, and that's why we're bringing it forward to you all.
So then that would be the policy that in a special case scenario, you bring it to us. Is that, I mean, it seems like a special it seems like a special circumstance.
This is the special
Yeah.
circumstance. Yes.
And we need to define that and,
'Cause you don't want to let go of a project that's a really important project because of paperwork, basically. But you also don't want to send the message to the public that there's not transparency. I'm kind of in a,
Yes, like, do you care more about the process or care more about the making an impact? Like, it's a really hard choice.
yeah, it's a really hard choice.
We agree. That's why we brought it forward.
yeah,
I'll
you're
be
bringing it
unpopular and I'll
forward
say, let's
now,
just do it and move on. I move that we support the proposal with reservations around the process. We want to be noted in our approval.
I concur with that. And I would just like to add that I have a list of things that we want in the local business development plan. And, I don't know if that's what this policy would be. To put it, let's not lose this idea, this important thing about transparency.
Right.
I mean,
So-
like, is this going to happen again in like another year?
Yeah, I think
And-
the language has to be, if we're going to vote on something, the language has to be clear on, supporting it or not supporting it. But if we were to support it, that there needs to be, well, what keeps sticking in my mind, JP, is that some of the organizations such as Local Clean Power Alliance have been asking for community funds, 10,000, here and there to fund a community fund. And, there's really no doorway for them to pass through at this point for that sort of, appeal. And if we're going to pick and choose, it's sending the community a message that, I know we were already far along on this path and that it would be a terrible shame to see this not follow through to the ideal that we had as a goal to complete. But at the same time, this might offer us an opportunity to talk about discretionary funds for small projects, for the community projects that would fit similarly, say, in education or propagation of electric vehicles that, the community has developed from them, within themselves. So if we can kind of open that door to that process of smaller funds, I mean, 150,000 when you're talking about millions doesn't seem like much, but it's still 15 times what the community has been asking for. So, I don't know how to craft the language to talk about discretionary funds like that.
Mickey, where is it captured? Where can it be captured? Like, is it to be part of, or maybe it's an Adrian question, like, if we, because I kind of agree, like, just vote, but make sure that we capture a discussion about discretionary funds, about local business development, about the roadmap, making sure that all the things that are affecting the community are captured. I mean, that's our job.
Mhm.
So, but where do we capture that?
It, just to answer your question, it's captured in the CAC chair report to the board. The chair can, provide a context and a discussion around votes taken by the CAC. I think that would be the place.
Does that become a board agenda item? I mean, I guess the question is, how do we get
It would
it
need to be recommended by a board member
Okay.
to bring in as an item, but it certainly can be discussed and captured in the discussion.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll bring it up in the CAC chair report, but we do want to capture the recommendation that discretionary funds, there needs to be a discussion about discretionary funds and the limits of a discretionary funds. And we'll just go with that at this point because I don't think I have the language to, do you want to?
No, I just want to, you.
It sounds like we're
Rachel,
duplicating their process they already have, like over 100K should be public solicitation. So if we add more to that, we're just adding additional duplicate policy,
Right.
technically.
But let me just to insert, one of the roles of the CAC is to communicate with our board members in our jurisdictions. So if this is something that, I mean, this is a great topic to have a conversation with our folks to bring up at the board. I mean, we've had like at least 3 things now to talk about. So I think that's how we should carry it forward to make sure that in your chair report, but also individuals of our CAC need to make that a point to our people.
To our people.
To our board members that we
yes.
communicate with, right? That's the do loop that have not been doing as much of maybe.
Yeah.
So maybe going back to, you made a motion, maybe we can go back to the motion.
Yeah.
Can you
Let's go back
repeat
to
your
the
motion?
Repeating the motion that we approve this grant with a request that the chair make sure to express our numerous reservations around the process to the board at the board meeting.
And transparency.
And transparency, yeah.
Great. Okay. Any
I
other
second that.
crafting of proposals or language?
Davis, raise your hand.
Oh, Davis.
So I'm supportive of that. I think I would go a step further and recommend that the board directs staff to get a first draft policy framework for rapid response grant making, outline some roles and responsibilities, the key points of contact, staff, of CAC members and board members, etc. Recommend if there's an ad hoc group that needs to be set up, some kind of process and guidance so that this doesn't happen again, right? Like we can have a more transparent process around how we move funding on a quick time frame and what those types of projects look like and what the priorities should be for them. But if we keep having one-off requests like this, it's never going to happen. It's the same thing with the budget surplus conversation. We've been talking about this for, I think, since I've been on the board. So I would add that, I think,
Thank you.
color to the motion.
Excellent, Davis. I think you'd be an excellent chair of an ad hoc committee.
Go recommending me for things.
You need to put your hand back up. I'm just kidding. Thank you, Davis. All right. So did we have the language? At least, can you repeat that? And do we have a motion?
Yes.
Yeah.
My apologies. I think I have a few more words I want to get from you.
Yeah.
Support motion with request to communicate the numerous reservations around transparency, but I think that I am
Yeah,
missing
and the
a-
process, like the process by transparency, I guess, relates to the process by which grants come for review.
And what Davis said, a staff process and guidance.
Now that is, should I regard that as a friendly amendment?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
What do you think, yeah?
Does the motion maker accept the
It's accepted, yeah.
and the second?
I accept that.
Great. So Member Harper, if you could please repeat your friendly amendment, create a process for emergency funding.
I can recommend that the board direct staff to produce a policy framework for rapid response grant making, outlining roles and responsibilities of staff, CAC, and board members in fielding discretionary funding requests.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deuce.
Okay. So first, with a motion by Member Bierce and a second by Vice Chair Balkasoon, the friendly amendment accepted with a roll call vote.
Yes, please.
Great, thank you. Member Bierce.
Yes.
Member Riley.
Yes.
Member Edmonds.
No.
Member Lochman.
Abstain.
Member Epperson.
Abstain.
Member Harper.
Yes.
Member Halafia.
Yes.
Member Knott.
Yes.
Member Raj.
Yes.
Member Roberts.
Yes.
Vice Chair Buckerson.
Yes.
Chair Susan.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Well, that was a great discussion. Very difficult discussion. But honestly, I'm excited for the 25 households and appreciative of Ava stepping up where others may not be able to. I would like to start the next discussion, which is the ad hoc discussion. And this is going to involve members speaking and presenting because we have some ideas on ad hocs. I don't know if Brody wanted to go first, or maybe I should just talk about ad hocs for a moment, or maybe Adrian could talk about ad hocs because he's the expert. But Adrian, did you want to describe
Just
what an ad hoc is?
A review of an ad hoc. An ad hoc is a short-term meeting of less than a quorum. In this case, that would be less than 7 members of the Community Advisory Committee would meet to discuss and provide a recommendation for a topic that you would like to take a deeper dive into. We should keep in mind that ad hocs are normally time-bound, so you want to make sure that there is kind of an end date. They're not something that, it's not a standing committee like the CAC, which just continues. It's something that is meant to provide an opportunity to investigate a kind of a short-term issue. Ad hoc committees, because they are underneath the quorum, are not, they're not public meetings. So the clerk would not be involved. You would meet, in your own capacity. We would like to capture who is assigned to an ad hoc. So we capture that in minutes in order to make sure that the ad hoc is is within, it has not reached a quorum. So if you have any questions about the ad hoc formation, be happy to.
Great. I do want to say something. I was on the two ad hocs from last year. I had I have Zoom. There has to be some platform. There was, I think, Jiu-Jitsu or something Jim used. It was a Google product, I should say. which was an online method of communication. Of course, Google Meeting is also available for use to get together. You guys can have lunch together too as well, you know, but typically because we are fairly geographically dispersed, it may not be possible for us to meet on a regular basis anyway for the ad hocs. And as far as the minutes are concerned, basically all you would need is just to say how many people came and any important, you know, so you would give a report. You don't have to give a report every meeting, but just kind of a progress status report, you know, so you can have your say and kind of guide along the CAC. And eventually come to a conclusion. You definitely need to have a point. So, you would have a reason and a goal for your ad hoc. So that said, I'm going to leave it open for perhaps Brody or anybody else who has an idea for an ad hoc. And then we'd like some members to participate in these ad hocs, because this is your chance to get to know one another, to work together, to have a common goal, and to learn. So this is I love doing the ad hocs. I advise everybody on the CAC to join one, and that's all I have to say.
I don't have an ad hoc that I want to pursue at this time.
Okay. Did you mention one? Did you had something?
Yeah, I was just bringing a point into the discussion that
Okay.
had come up in public comment,
Okay.
but it sounds like with the discussions earlier, some of the funding discussions are going to come later in the fall. So maybe that would be more relevant time to think about the small grants under 50,000, I think.
Thank you. And I do think that actually falls perfectly into what we were just discussing. And I would love to see an ad hoc based on small community grants and process around that, and ways for AVA to get involved in that kind of I guess more focused and community-oriented projects. So would anybody like to comment on that? Would anybody be interested in something along those lines? Is everybody shy? Okay, everybody, you know, the idea of the ad hoc is not, if, for instance, if Chris is perhaps interested in continuing on with the CAC, he does not have to be a regular member. So, and you can invite others, people with, from outside experience, industry knowledge, to join the ad hocs. So, for instance, Jim can be a member. Anybody can be a member of an ad hoc.
The membership of the ad hoc would only be the members of the CAC. Their guests can be invited to the ad hoc, but they wouldn't be a member of the ad hoc.
Right.
Be clear about that.
They would be a guest, but they would be able to participate and have their voice. So you might have a person from local Clean Energy Alliance or Greenpeace or Build It Green or Sierra Club. And so you will be interacting with these members. Okay, well, at this point in time, I brought that up. please consider it. Write to Adrian if you have an idea for an ad hoc. Maybe we can have like a little space on your meeting notes to kind of compile some ideas for ad hocs for the CAC. Okay. You know, your space where you have the meeting notes.
I can give a little advertising.
Okay, great. Indira?
We did a ad hoc on energy affordability. And it was really very helpful because we were able to meet with, I'm forgetting all the names, but someone who was an economist who knew about solar power talked to us. And that was very interesting. He's like been on KQED and all kinds of stuff. Was super interesting. And then we had somebody talking about another approach to community advisory, was CCA 3. That was very interesting to hear what they proposed, like sort of the way where they thought CCA should be going. So that was kind of interesting. So that ad hoc, which has sunset now, was a very interesting way for us to learn more, to be participants. I just wanted to say that is one of the advantages of an ad hoc. And also you get to talk to each other more than in this environment.
Okay, thank you. Tanisha.
Hi, thank you. So I really like the idea of the ad hoc, but for me, I think it makes more sense to have some sort of more information regarding what kind of ad hoc. So I think it would be nice if we could be provided with certain topics and then we choose from them. And then also it would be a lot better if there was a purpose, goal, and the outcome of the ad hoc.
Great,
designed.
great. Yeah, I agree with you
Yes.
100%. And there will be some topics, I think, and maybe I can just shoot some out right now.
Yeah, because I would like to have some time to decide and really think about it because I don't want to attend a meeting just to attend one. And, I also want to be mindful of other people's time too.
Okay, and also you can recommend one. I do believe that the energy affordability, especially today, would be an excellent ad hoc. So we progressed. We did a lot of we made a lot of progress, and I learned a lot in the energy affordability ad hoc. But I also feel that we needed to focus a little bit more on maybe not such a big chunk as energy affordability, but something along the lines of energy efficiency or balcony solar or or something along the lines. So we would probably not say energy affordability, but more focused than that. So if you have any experience with how to reduce bills when it comes to utilities, that would be a great start. I really want to get this rolling because I think that we get freedom to talk. We could speak without necessarily misstating something, and we can get rolling on something without necessarily being restricted by votes and rules and legalities, and get down to the nitty gritty and come up with something really helpful to Ava. The other idea I do believe is I would like to see an ad hoc that would focus on small community grants and how to process, how to select something along those lines that would help Ava's focus and open the door to smaller community grants. So that would be right now my recommendations for ad hocs, but I'm sure that there's technology such as virtual power plants and islanding and just technologies that could be possibility. There's been mention about Ava branching out and having different income streams. So how could Ava diversify? So those are some ideas. Hopefully some of them have, piqued your interest. And so we'll revisit this in the future. Unless somebody has, yes. Somebody have a question?
She was.
I
Okay.
do. Thank you. This is Tanisha again. I just wanted to add, I feel like it would be better if the ad hocs were, since they are short-term meetings, it would be better if they're aligned with AVA's and CAC's short-term and long-term goals. So whatever AVA's current short-term goals are.
They should be aligned with Ava's short and long-term goals, the ad hocs,
Right.
because they're limited in time.
Right. But at the same time, the short and the long-term goals are they're almost unseeable at this point. We don't know, since everything is moving beneath our feet, it's very difficult to know what the long-term goals are. And this is an opportunity for the CAC to come forward and help with that. As far as the short-term goals, yes, I mean, absolutely, they can be very precise, and we can come up with something along those lines. And Tanisha, since you're thinking about it, I'm sure that as you progress, we're going to have 2 months off. We're going to be meeting in another 2 months. Something along those lines, please come forward, feel free to contact me, feel free to contact Adrian, and Adrian can help me focus on that, or help the CAC focus on that as well. So that would be your homework assignment. Anybody else have any comments?
Yeah, can we get access to the discussions from the previous ad hoc meetings? There were notes taken. I know there's no official minutes, excuse me. But can we kind of see what the discussion was?
I can dig something up.
It should be in our minutes.
It
should be in our past minutes.
Yeah, there will be some minutes. They aren't terribly detailed, but I can give you more information on that. And I'm happy to. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have one comment. So I think the smart home battery system and the virtual power plants are kind of interesting concepts. I don't know that much about the program, but I'd like to over the break, think about forming an ad hoc committee to study those and how to expand them in breadth and maybe scope.
Great. Okay.
Nate has his hand up.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll just mention real briefly. I didn't speak up on this because it's only my first official meeting. I'm still getting my feet wet. I know in the last discussion for C6, there was a lot of discussion about transparency and maybe doing a bait and switch things about funding that are still so new to me that it's hard for me to relate to what some of those folks were talking about. I know there's Jessica Guadalupe Tovar, who spoke several times tonight, has great depth of background that I don't yet have. I just wanted to mention, since Tanisha and I are both in Stockton and we're both well acquainted to one another, that somewhere in the next couple months, she and I can meet and connect with someone on the board, or Adrian or someone, and give a little more experienced, maybe educated feedback. I think the idea of ad hocs is excellent. This is my 7th board I've been on. I've been a board chair a couple of times, but I just don't have anything tonight that I could throw in there. I haven't had a chance to become familiar enough with all the things that are going on, especially when the last meeting was so technical and so many moving parts with huge numbers shifting around in the budget. So I appreciate all the discussion tonight. I appreciate what Tanisha said. So on my end, I'll try to connect with Tanisha so she and I and any other Stockton CAC members can maybe have some kind of discussion about an ad hoc committee.
Excellent, excellent. All right. Well, I'd be happy to be a guest or, I joined both ad hocs last time. So, I'm available. I can try and fill in some of the blanks. If you wanted to kind of have a kickoff meeting. And we can invite a couple other folks that might be interested in going over what you guys are interested in. Okay. So that said, one of the other ones was the what? Oh, yes, that there was a municipalization of the grid. That is almost pie in the sky, but I want to, maybe you guys knew about this or not, but San Jose really got a sweetheart deal. Nobody wants to talk about it. But they had talked to PG&E about breaking off and municipalizing their grid. And PG&E, I'm going to say this, freaked out and made them a sweetheart deal. And so I think, PG&E wants to keep its grid. It wants to keep its breadth and width of customers. But we feel that they're a monopoly when it comes to the grid, and they should have some competition. So that's another idea, is to talk about municipalization. If you can say it better than me, I would just love it. Of grids within your own cities, and start that conversation with your board member. That would be great. And then coming back together maybe in a few months with an ad hoc on breaking off from PG&E's grid using municipalization. Yes, and then there was another one, but I can't, but as you can see, there's just so many things that the CAC can help Ava with. And so I've just thrown out some, and, if somebody wanted to step forward, please let me know. And I will do everything I can to facilitate that. Okay. So are there any other, Nate, did you have another question?
No, I did not. However, I don't want to elongate the discussion, but I did want to mention the object of the what you call a municipal grid is a very important topic to me. I won't go into it today, but that's a subject I'm very interested in.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I can't see you.
Public comment.
There's public comment. There's a.
Oh.
There's a public comment. Okay.
No,
great.
we should go. We should.
Okay.
I also wanted to comment that a community member in Berkeley recently approached me and requested that I let the Ava CAC or somebody discuss municipalization. So I'm really glad that this is a topic. I'm currently very sick, so I can't volunteer for anything right now. But wanted to mention that that's a request I got in Berkeley as well.
Okay. All right. Well, at this time,
We should do public comment.
okay. I'm opening this to a public comment. And
Yes.
I need to close that window because all I can see is the sun. In that direction. Thank you, Jim.
Great. There are no hands raised at this time.
Okay, great. Any other comments in the room? It's that one.
Yeah, two down. It's the next.
Thank you. That one.
It's that. Yeah, keep going. Right,
Oh,
yeah.
man, instant relief. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
You're beautiful. Thank you. All right. I can see you there.
You're right.
There you are. All right, at this moment, I'd like to open this up to requests to place items on future meetings. Anybody have want to discuss something, bring something up?
I will.
Okay, Indira.
I'd like, if, in a future agenda, we've talked about this, Katie and Adrian, to discuss Bright Choice and Renewable 100. And the costs and emissions associated and why various municipalities are relooking at that. And the impact on Ava.
If I may, I'll just note on that topic, sometime in the fall, in the next few months, staff will be able to present our most recent power content labels. That will be a great opportunity, I think, to really go over those
Great.
products side by
That'd be
side.
great. Thank you. Excellent. Okay, great.
Immediate response.
It's already there, right? I love it. All right, with that, I think we're
I
gonna
have-
run.
I have one
yes.
item to maybe add for the agenda next time. Is this the appropriate time? I'm meeting with some folks from Ava's community engagement team this week to discuss opportunities to form partnerships with K through 12 schools locally. So I'd be happy to share out on that meeting next time to keep everyone informed.
Okay, Adrian, can we capture that? Thank you. How long would you, 10 minutes, 20 minutes?
10 minutes, fine, I'm
Okay,
sure.
great.
Yeah.
All right.
I had a topic I'm interested in hearing kind of Ava's stance on the DOE guidance that eliminated the ability for consumers to replace their gas appliances with electric ones. This is noted in Ava's policies, like when you go into the incentive calculator, as no longer available, but it kind of strands a lot of people who are midway through electrification processes and now can't actually, that were banking on some of those rebates and now can't get them. And I'm wondering if they're kind of relatedly, I think Catherine brought up just communication of sunsetting, and this is slightly different. This is more if there's a way, if Ava already has a way, or if there is a way to better communicate potential incentive programs or rebate programs that are at risk, and which ones are maybe better insulated from some of the more mercurial or just adversarial decisions at the federal level compared to what's kind of protected in California or even in Alameda County. Yeah, I guess that would be a discussion topic I'd be interested in bringing up. And then I didn't disclose this earlier because it didn't come up, but I think PG&E did come up later, and I do want to just disclose that I am a PG&E employee.
Oh my God.
Well, I worked with PG&E for many years, and I want to say it's 30 years. I've been in and out of their data centers. I worked with their programs. I've been educated in energy efficiency by PG&E. There's two sides to PG&E, and one of them is wonderful, and the other one is, I don't want to say, but
And also, we get these policy updates, legislative updates, and that might also add to what you're saying in addition.
Great. Well, we'll be asking you a lot of questions. All right, bless you. That said, without further ado, we will close this meeting. It is now 8:25. We're got a little time back. Thank you very much for everybody who's so carefully spent their time with us. Thank you.